Welcome to this webinar, which is all about the home insurance product underwritten by our panel of insurers. If you're new to Paymentshield or new to the product, we'll help you get up to speed and hopefully cover off any questions you might have so you can confidently have more conversations about general insurance. So firstly, hi, I'm Jeni Law. I'm one of the face-to-face business development managers, and I work out in the field training people on how to use the product and how to make the most of every opportunity with a customer. Today. So firstly, what we're going to do is we're going to look at some of the big changes that have been undertaken in the last few years. We'll have a look at the latest quotes and results system. We'll give you an overview about what's covered by the home insurance policy. And then we'll have a deep dive into what and when items need to be specified. And finally, we'll give you an overview of where the optional extras can add value. So let's take a look at the journey so far. So let's just recap on what's changed in recent years. Back in 2013, we moved away from our single insurer relationship with RSA, and we created a panel of big name insurers who've all signed up to a common policy wording. And this means there's only one set of terms and conditions for you to learn. There are currently 7 insurers on our home insurance panel, but we are in talks with more insurers with a view to getting back up to 8 or 9 in the very near future. Because we only have top-notch insurers who all sign up to a single policy wording, there's some quite healthy competition amongst our insurers, which helps keep our prices competitive. In 2014, we introduced Premium Flex, to enable you to reduce your premium for your client if needed by sacrificing the percentage of your commission. In 2015, we launched our multi-quote results screen, and this enables you to show your clients all of the panel, all of the prices, and all of the brands on one page. And in 2016, we lowered the threshold that we automatically rebroke at renewal to offer more clients the best deal without you having to go back in and do the work yourself each year. We'll even do this if the customer's made a claim. We've also made massive improvements to our pricing with the introduction of a new pricing tool, and we now retain more than 4 out of every 5 customers at renewal. And we didn't stop there. Tiered pricing was one of the big changes last year. We changed our quote results screen to help you compare our standard and plus options side by side. Now you can easily give your client different price options without having to fiddle about and rekey. Ultimately, make sure their family home is adequately protected. ABI research has revealed that in the UK, the average home now contains £55,000 worth of contents, but on average, we're insuring them for around 35. So this is a really important conversation for you to be having with your customers. And here's the latest set of our improvements to the home insurance proposition, with a mountain of changes that we introduced at the end of 2016. Firstly, index linking. We know that sometimes solicitors insist on confirmation that a client's home insurance policy is linked. So we've now made it clear in our policy wording that our policy offers a blanket sum insured, and our insurers will adjust the estimated rebuild cost in line with the recognised index and provide a renewal premium based on the adjusted rebuild cost. Quotes for new build properties are now valid for up to 120 days. And accidental damage to TV, computer and video equipment is now included as standard with our contents insurance, along with accidental damage to fixed glass mirrors and ceramic hobs. We've extended the no claims discount up to 9 years, and we've made specifying items even easier with clearer limits and a simpler process on when to specify and when not to. This will make it easier for you and much less likely that you'll have a declined claim. We'll cover this in a little bit more detail later. A shake-up of our panel means we've removed the quotation search which some insurers needed in order to provide their most competitive quote, and we've brought your eligibility questions up front, meaning that there's no chance of you wasting your time keying in details for clients that aren't eligible for the cover. We've increased your cover on personal possessions, and we've switched insurer and doubled the cover for home emergency. This now offers up to £1,000 of cover and includes a new boiler contribution for £500 if the client's existing boiler cannot be economically repaired. The price is still incredibly low, at around £54 for the whole year. We've also doubled our legal expenses cover, so this is now up to £100,000, and this will cost around £25 for the year. To help offer more choice to clients who might otherwise find it difficult or expensive to find insurance, we're now able to provide you and your clients with quotes for policies with added endorsements based on their individual circumstances. And for tenants, we now offer a range of options for the contents insurance, so they can choose £20,000, £30,000, £40,000 or £50,000 of their cover limit. The cover limit on the buildings insurance has also increased, and this is up to £1 million with our Buildings Insurance Plus option. And finally, we're also now offering 3 months free cover for Paymentshield Home Insurance if your clients switch to Paymentshield when they're remortgaging. So let's take a look in a bit more detail about what the quote screen looks like. Well, it looks something like this. You can view your client's chosen cover on the left. This is based on the information that they've provided, but will appear side by side with an alternative cover option to give them some real choice. Sums insured for both your client's chosen cover and the alternative cover will always be shown at the top of each column, and the best price for each will be highlighted. The cheapest 3 quotes will be what you see straight away, but you can always click See More Insurers to allow your customer to see all of the return quotes from the whole panel. In addition to this, you can see the price for accidental damage cover displayed against the quote, and this can be instantly added or removed. The results screen is automatically going to default to an annual premium, but if your customer would prefer to see the monthly one, you can change this by altering the payment frequency. The key facts and the terms and conditions can be emailed or printed from the quote screen. And if your business has signed up to Premium Flex, you'll also be able to reduce the quote in real time by using the on-screen slider to flex an element of your commission should you just need to shave a little off the price to secure that sale. Okay, so let's get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty of this product. Now, our buildings and contents insurance can be purchased together or separately. Both buildings and contents offer financial protection from damage caused by a range of events. These include fire and smoke, severe weather like storm, flood or lightning, impact caused by aircraft or items falling from them, vehicles, falling trees or aerials, malicious damage, vandalism or rioting, subsidence, landslip or heave, leaks of water or oil, and theft or attempted theft. Buildings insurance also protects your home and garden from damage caused by an attending emergency service like the police or the ambulance, an accidental breakage of glass which is fixed and forms part of your home or sanitary ware. What it isn't intended to do is cover loss or damage caused by wear and tear, depreciation, or anything that happens gradually over a long period of time. So let's look in a little bit more detail at the buildings insurance policy. Now, our standard buildings insurance provides £500,000 worth of buildings cover. But if the rebuild value, not the market value, is more than this, your client can select our Buildings Insurance Plus option, which now provides up to £1 million of cover. The product includes a range of benefits. Alternative accommodation, which now offers up to 20% of the sums insured. 24/7 telephone helpline to provide assistance, putting policyholders in touch with approved contractors if they need urgent work completing. Replacement of lost or stolen keys is now covered up to £1,000. And you've got up to £5,000 for tracing and accessing leaking water or oil from pipes, tanks or fixed domestic heating systems. There's £2,000 worth of cover for damage to trees, shrubs, plants, hedges and lawns. And a basic level of accidental damage cover is included as standard for glass, ceramic hobs or sanitary fittings fixed to the home, and now also accidental breakage of underground drains and pipes, as well as accidental damage to cables and underground tanks providing services to or from the home. Plus, all of our repairs are guaranteed for 12 months by our approved tradesman, which is not offered by every insurer. Our insurers will only employ tradespeople that we trust enough to guarantee their work to make repairs. So now let's take a look at the contents insurance. Contents insurance repairs or replaces your contents items on a new for old basis, where the items cannot be economically repaired. We provide up to £50,000 worth of standard cover. This blanket cover might be particularly useful for a first-time buyer. So every time that they add to their home insurance, they won't need to inform their insurer and increase their sum insured. Additionally, we also offer an option for up to £75,000 worth of cover if your client selects Contents Plus. Now remember, you can actually mix and match your levels of cover here. So you could give a customer a building sum insured of up to £500,000, which is our standard cover, but you could also give them the plus option for their contents, meaning they've got up to £75,000 for that area. As we've previously mentioned, tenants now have a choice when they're buying their contents insurance. They can choose up to £20,000, £30,000, £40,000 or £50,000 for their contents sum insured. Now some of the individual benefits and the contents limits are shown on screen. For example, loss or damage to shrubs or plants is covered as standard up to £2,000. There's cover included for the cost of replacing your food in your freezer caused by an accidental change in temperature. And your contents sum insured will automatically increase by 10% 1 month before or 1 month after a wedding, a civil ceremony, a religious festival or a family birthday. If cash is stolen or there's unauthorised use of a credit or debit card, your client can claim up to £500 and there's up to £2,000 worth of cover available for loss of oil or metered water. Loss or damage to contents whilst being removed by professionals from your home to a new home is covered up to the sum insured, so that's either £50,000 or £75,000 for a homeowner, or if they're a tenant it would be 20, 30, 40 or 50, depending on what you've selected. Theft or attempted theft is covered for items stolen from a garage or an outbuilding up to £3,000, and if any items are damaged within the grounds of the home, a claim can be made up to £1,000. Also, there's a basic level of accidental damage cover included as standard, which now includes cover for accidental damage to TVs, videos or computer equipment. So let's take a look at simplifying specifying. We know that understanding when an item needs to be specified tends to be one of the areas where advisors can struggle. Knowing when an item needs specifying relies on your understanding of what sort of item it is. So let's break this down a bit. General contents are household goods and personal effects, including money up to £500, which belong to your clients but don't fall into the valuables category. Valuables. These are items of precious metal or precious stones, jewellery, watches, works of art, computer equipment or portable electrical equipment other than TVs and radios. And finally, personal possessions. This is clothing and baggage and articles of use normally worn, carried or used by you or your family. Exclusions include items such as musical instruments. So, let's have a look at how we can treat each of these individually. So for general contents, we don't really need you to do anything. However, it is worth noting that if an individual item is worth more than £15,000, we won't be able to offer your client cover. So valuables. This is valuables that would normally stay in the home. These must be specified if they're worth more than £2,500. If those items are to be taken away from the home, you need to look at personal possessions. So personal possessions, individual personal possessions, must be specified if they're worth more than £2,500, with the exception of mobile phones, which must be specified over £250, and bikes, which must be specified over £500. The personal possessions is added to the total contents cover, and it does come with an increase in premium. Items that are below these limits should be added together and covered as unspecified personal possessions. And the maximum we'll do in total for personal possessions away from the home or for valuable items within the home is 30% of the contents sum insured. So if you've given them £50,000, for example, the maximum you could do for personal possessions or valuables would be £15,000. Now, one of the useful resources that we've created in order to help you out with understanding your customer's needs in these areas and also explaining the different options for the customer is on the screen now. This is something we've called the Specified Items Flowchart. This is available for you to download in the Specifying Items ebook. It's also available for you to look at in your sales support guide, or can also be downloaded from the Marketing Toolkit or the Training Hub in other forms as well. So the maximum value for an individual content is £15,000 on our standard cover, but this can be increased to £22,500 with our plus cover, which takes your customer to £75,000 worth of contents. This works out at 30% of their content sum insured, which should make it easier to remember. So our standard cover is 5-star de facto rated, which means it's one of the better quality products that's available on the market. But you can improve it even further by talking your customer through some of the optional extra covers that are available to them. So let's take a look at what some of those are. As we've already discussed, we automatically provide limited accidental damage cover as standard in both the buildings and contents policies. But you might want to talk through the optional extras to give your customer more choices with their own policy. The optional accidental damage cover pays out for damage caused by the policyholder, a family member or a non-paying guest that's not caused on purpose. Now please note at this point that general wear and tear is not covered, neither is electrical or mechanical failure. So accidental damage optional extra can be taken out on the buildings policy, on the contents policy, or both. So let's take a look at an example of how that could really work for your client. So a policyholder knocks a pot of paint off a step ladder whilst they're decorating, and it spills over the sofa and carpet. Now in this instance, the customer would be able to claim for the sofa and carpet, which are damaged by the paint, under the contents accidental damage policy. Now obviously customers will benefit from having accidental damage on both, as accidents will happen or can happen to both the buildings and the contents. But quite an interesting example would be if the paint had spilt onto wooden or laminate floor, it would be classed as part of the buildings, not the contents. So bear that in mind when you're talking to your customer through their choices. Remember that the client's chosen policy excess will apply to any accidental damage claims, and it doesn't cover damage after your client's home has been left unoccupied for more than 60 days in a row, accidental damage to mobile phones, or damage caused by a paying guest, tenant, or their pet. So discussing cover for personal possessions, particularly for things like mobile phones or bikes, should be a key part of how you demonstrate the value of your advice to customers. Clients who buy online might just be focused on price alone and could ignore this cover extension without understanding the benefits in an effort to drive costs down. Personal possessions cover is an optional extra to our contents insurance policy, which protects articles of personal use, usually worn or carried, whether those items are in the home or outside the home. We'll even protect them when travelling worldwide for up to 60 days. So as an example, personal possessions can include things like clothing, coats, hats, laptops, cameras, pedal cycles, sports equipment and handbags. So if we look at a lady's handbag, for example, it might be an expensive bag to start with, but also it could contain a mobile phone, an iPad, glasses, keys, cash, credit cards, jewellery, makeup. If that bag was stolen while she's out shopping, she could claim for the bag and everything inside it, obviously subject to the excess that's been chosen. Unless specified for a higher amount, our personal possessions cover provides up to £250 of mobile phone cover replacement as standard. But if it's of a higher value, such as one of the new fancy iPhones, the client can specify the phone up to the sum insured. We'll also cover up to £500 for lost money and £500 for the misuse of credit or debit cards. Pedal cycles would be covered up to £500 as standard, but you can also specify these at a higher amount up to the sum insured. Bikes must be locked up and not left unattended in public. And for items in a motor vehicle, there's actually £1,000 worth of cover as long as they're stored out of sight. valuable cover option is the home emergency cover, which is available for £54 for the year or around £4.50 a month. So imagine a young mother with a family arrives home just a couple of weeks before Christmas to find that there's no heating or hot water. With our home emergency cover, she'd be able to call out an emergency plumber to come in and carry out repair work to get the boiler working again. There's £1,000 worth of cover, including your VAT, towards the call-out cost, the cost of labour and any parts that are required. There's also £100 towards alternative accommodation if the property becomes uninhabitable overnight. And if we can't get that boiler working, there's £500 towards a new one. There's no excess to pay or any reduction in no claims discount if you claim, and all claims are dealt with by the specialist insurance partner, Property Guard. Now, obviously, as the name suggests, it's not intended to cover any event which is not sudden or something that occurs gradually, or if the customer's property has been left for more than 60 days. And our final option of extra cover that we're going to talk about is the legal expenses cover, which when taken out can be used by the policyholder and any member of their family. Don't forget that our definition of family is you or anybody permanently living with you who doesn't pay rent. So legal expenses cost around £25 for the year, or a little bit more than £2 a month. Now there's no excess to pay, and once again it doesn't affect the client's no claims discount if they need to make a claim. So one example where this cover could come in useful is with disputes around the mis-selling of goods or receiving a poor service for something that your client has paid for. So for example, if a retailer fits a policyholder's new carpet badly and refuses to rectify the situation, legal expenses cover could help to cover their legal costs to get it put right, up to a maximum of £100,000. The cover doesn't stop there either. You can also use the cover for bodily injury claims, property law, tenancy disputes, employment issues, motor disputes, probate disputes, and also for jury service if you need to recoup any lost earnings. So, who's ready for a little quiz? Based on what you've learnt today, can you remember how much theft from an outbuilding is covered up to? The correct answer is £3,000. Question number 2. How much does our standard contents sum insured increase by for 1 month before or after a celebration? If you've answered C and 10%, you're correct, so well done. So looking at personal possessions, which of the following items are excluded under personal possessions cover? A set of keys, B, a guitar, C, a mobile phone, or D, a pedal cycle? The answer is B. We don't cover musical instruments away from the home. Final question. As part of home emergency cover, what excess does the customer need to pay to make their claim? For those of you that have just said D, you're correct. There is no excess to pay as part of the home emergency claim, meaning all your customer pays for is the price per month. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this webinar today. I hope you found it useful. Whilst you're on the Training Hub, why don't you take some time to have a look around at the other resources that are available. I'm sure you'll find something that will really help you to grow your GI business moving forwards. Thanks again.